The Dallas Mavericks are currently 8-2 over the last 10 games as they've struggled with illnesses and injuries, but that hasn't stopped this team from finding ways to win. You got players like Najee Marshall, Quentin Grimes, Jaden Hardy, and even Spencer Dinwiddie, who have all stepped up in many games to help this team continue to win and get them in a better position in the West. But with these injuries and illnesses, there will come a time where the team is fully healthy and ready to play together, and Jason Kidd will have a very tough decision to make, and that will be who needs to be in the starting lineup and who needs to come off the bench, specifically Quentin Grimes, who has been playing very well over the last several games, and Jason Kidd actually spoke on his starting or bench position after last night's win over the Portland Trail Blazers. So in this video, we're going to take a look at what Jason Kidd said about Quentin Grimes, whether or not we think that he should be in the starting lineup, and what does this mean for Klay Thompson and the rest of the team down the road. But how's it going, everybody? My name is Marcel Martin. This is Mavericks Digest, bringing you the latest news on everything Mavericks related. And before we get started with our video, the last video only got 378 likes. I'm trying to get 400 on every video. So if you could just so kindly like this video, if you're enjoying all the live streams, the watch alongs, the news vids, drop a like. Let's try to get to 400 likes, and I'd appreciate it greatly. But like I said, Quentin Grimes has been playing exceptionally well. It's kind of odd how over the summer we got him as kind of an upgrade to Tim Hardaway Jr., more so an upgrade to Josh Green, but we didn't really see the impact right away as him as well as Najee Marshall needed more time to really gel, really to get into rhythm and really find their role within the team. But once Quentin Grimes got it going, he hasn't stopped yet with the three-point shooting, which has been phenomenal, with the playmaking, the ball handling, the decision-making, and the defense. The way that he can guard smaller, quicker guards on the perimeter has been amazing for this team. I've looked at him as like a miniature Klay Thompson, a younger Klay Thompson. Not saying that he'll be like Klay, but it's good to have a player who is a little bit of a 3-and-D like Quentin Grimes, who is still somewhat of a Swiss Army knife like Najee Marshall. He has been amazing for us. It's wild to think that Jason Kidd gave him a DNP early in the season, only for him to use that as motivation. And once when guys were injured, once when guys were sick and we needed guys to step up, Quentin Grimes quickly moved into that starting role and it has flourished. If we take a look at his averages for the season, it's nothing really to really surprise you. I mean, he's averaging 8.9 points, 3.7 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 0.2 blocks, 0.7 steals, 0.9 turnovers, and 1.7 fouls per game. However, he is shooting 49% from the floor and 44% from three. He shoots 42% on corner threes, 100 of his threes are assisted, and 57% of all of his shots are threes. Obviously, the averages doesn't really jump out as someone who needs to be a starter. This looks like an amazing role player that, if we're being honest, the Dallas Mavericks paid nothing for. We gave away Tim Hardaway Jr., and I'm pretty sure it was like a second-round pick. And we got Quentin Grimes, a guy who can come off the bench and drop 20, or in the starting position, he can still drop 20, hit a few threes, play good defense, and he has been amazing for us. But does he deserve to be in the starting lineup? From what I've seen, from what we've all seen over the last 10 games, using that as a sample size, you can make the argument that, yeah, Quentin Grimes deserves to be a starter. He's played amazing. Him as well as Najee Marshall have stepped up when we've had injuries, stepped up when guys are sick, stepped up when things aren't working in the middle of a game. We need to go to somebody. Boom. Put in Quentin Grimes. He has the confidence to shoot the ball the moment he gets it. He's a good decision maker, a good ball handler, and a good defender. But Jason Kidd seems to think otherwise, as it was reported after yesterday's game. Jason Kidd said that Quentin Grimes will move back to the bench once the Mavericks get whole, and he complimented his ability to thrive as a starter or bench player. I'm not saying this is the wrong decision by Jason Kidd, but I do think that down the road, this will be a decision that Jason Kidd may need to revisit. Not saying there's anything wrong with Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson has had somewhat of an up and down season, but overall, pretty solid. He's not a 0 for 10 every night type of player that everyone thought that he was going to be. But at the same time, he isn't really that splash brother from the prime Klay Thompson years. Obviously, we knew that when we brought him on. We just needed more offense. We needed more shooting. We needed just an addition to defense as well. But I don't think any of us thought that we would get that as well from Najee Marshall and Quentin Grimes. Obviously, they're role players. They're going to step up. But it seems like what we needed from Klay Thompson, we're getting that same value from Najee Marshall, and as well as that same value from Quentin Grimes. And I asked you guys earlier today on this channel, who do you think deserves to be in the starting lineup, who currently is on the bench? Daniel Gafford got 10% of the votes. Spencer Dinwiddie got 1%. Najee Marshall got the majority with 60%, but I voted for Quentin Grimes with 28%. I think Quentin Grimes has been great. No shade or no disrespect to Najee Marshall. I think that he's amazing off the bench. I think he's sixth man of the year potential, able to just come off the bench as a spark of energy for this team as he just attacks he is a point of attack defender. Like, he does a very good job guarding on ball. He does a great job with those middies, which is money every time. He can get to the line, shoot his free throws at a very high efficiency. There's a lot of things that Najee Marshall does, and a lot of those things he does very well. But as far as balance for this team, I like Najee off the bench, and I like Quentin Grimes as a starter. And if you were to have Klay Thompson come off the bench, then that just increases what you have coming off the bench, where I do believe that Klay Thompson could actually do some damage against other teams' second units. But I understand that when we traded for Klay Thompson, it was somewhat promised to him that you will be a starter. You will get about 25 to 30 minutes a night. You will get X amount of money in your contract. So I understand that it may be out of Jason Kidd's hands to really justify having Klay Thompson come off the bench in lieu of a Najee Marshall or a Quentin Grimes, as I think he should be a starter. But it is up to Jason Kidd to really handle that situation. It's good to have. This is a good problem to have. We have multiple players who could be a starter. We have multiple players who showed you that on any given night, they can drop 20 points. Spencer Dinwiddie's been doing it off the bench. We have a very deep team. We have a very loaded team. The only issue we seem to have is availability, as Jimmy Butler got the whole team sick. Guys can't get healthy. We got weird wrist injuries, shoulder injuries. Regardless of what's going up against us, the Dallas Mavericks are still looking good. We're 13-8, currently the 5th seed, only a few games back from second place, only even a couple games back behind first place. The Dallas Mavericks have had a pretty easy schedule for the most part. We do play the Memphis Grizzlies tomorrow. That's definitely going to be a test for us. And if we have the majority of our team back, I think we can easily get a win. But I do believe that Quentin Grimes may have been right on betting himself by not signing that extension over the summer, as he is looking to play for a bigger contract and is looking like he's going to get that contract. But one thing I do want to bring to your attention is this right here. You may not care, but the NBA Players of the Week were announced. For the Western Conference, it was Alfred Sengun, and for the Eastern Conference, it was Jalen Brunson, and there were their stats for the week. Yes, cool. There's not a Dallas Maverick up there. Kyrie was nominated twice. He didn't get it twice. But what's more interesting is this right here, is that Quentin Grimes and Kyrie Irving both received votes for being named the NBA Western Conference Player of the Week this past week. In Grimes' last 3 games, he averaged 24.3 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, 2 steals per game, shooting 59.5% from the floor and 53.8% from 3. And in those 3 games, we were 3-0. Those numbers are crazy. Now, obviously, that's in a vacuum. That's a very small sample size. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Quentin Grimes is going to average this for the full season, although that would be insane if he did. But it shows you that we have players that can step up. We have guys that can thrive on the bench or thrive as a starter. Meanwhile, Klay Thompson hasn't necessarily been doing that well. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. Klay Thompson is not a non-playable player. He is still a useful asset to this team. It just may not be up to par to where fans expect him to be. If we take a look right here, these are Klay Thompson's last several games before he went down with injury. His most recent game against the Heat, he had 15 points, which was great. He was 5 of 12 from the floor, 3 of 5 from 3. That was awesome. But the game before that, he dropped 0 points, 0 of 8 from the floor, 0 of 4 from 3. The game before that, he had 19 points. The game before, he had 5. He had 9. He had 17. It's a very up and down season for Klay Thompson. Obviously, he'll need time, just like Najee Marshall and Quentin Grimes needed time to really gel and really get a good rhythm. And obviously, Klay Thompson's been out. It was reported, he's missed 4 games so far, but this was just yesterday before the Trailblazers game, that Klay Thompson is still out with that left foot plantar fasciitis, and it isn't that serious of an injury. A lot of athletes get this injury. It's just stress on the heel. It hurts to walk. When I got it, I had to change my insoles, and I was fine in about a week or 2. However, we don't have an update or a timetable of when he'll return. If Klay Thompson isn't back by tomorrow, maybe a tougher conversation needs to be had about where we put Klay in the lineup. If he's going to be available long term, cool, keep him as a starter. But if he's going to be in and out of the lineup, and I'm not trying to make something out of nothing. He's missed 4 games. It's not a real injury. It's just something that happens. It's totally fine. But if he has to miss extended time, and if Quentin Grimes is going to hold down that starting position and play this well as a starter in lieu of Klay Thompson, then maybe you do reward him by keeping him in that position if that's the position that he's thriving in. If Klay Thompson comes back and he's not the same Klay, have him come off the bench. But at the same time, it doesn't really matter who starts. It really is just up to who finishes. We've got Derrick Lively and Daniel Gafford. One starts, one finishes, and that changes sometimes on a nightly basis. So maybe the same can be said for Quentin Grimes and Klay Thompson. If Klay Thompson comes back and he's still just a starter no matter what, maybe we choose Quentin Grimes to close out games. It's up to Jason Kidd on how he wants to manage this team, but I think Quentin Grimes has done a very good job over the last several games. Over the last 10 games, he's been phenomenal. And a player like that who's playing that well, you definitely got to reward them either with a good contract extension that he wants, or you give him some more minutes or a starting position. But you guys let me know down in the comment section down below. Do you think Quentin Grimes is deserving of a starting position? Or do you think, put him on the bench to help out the bench unit, have Klay Thompson as a starter, and just leave it as it is? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. We can have a conversation about it. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for making this far into the video. Make sure to check out our Twitter and Discord. Links in the description below. Consider becoming a channel member. We are doing giveaway every single month on this channel. The only way to enter our giveaway is to become a channel member of any tier. But till next time, y'all take care. Drink water. Peace.